Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Bolton from the Hormone Mentor, and I help women that are going through the perimenopause to manage their symptoms naturally through food and lifestyle changes. Today I want to talk to you about night sweats. Now, I ran a workshop last week, and one of the conversations that came up and a symptom that was really common was struggling with night sweats, which meant that you weren't getting enough sleep. Now, sleep is so important during the perimenopause, so obviously when night sweats are causing you to be waking up regularly and not get more than a few hours sleep each night, it can then exacerbate other symptoms, and it's a bit of a vicious cycle. So the reason that we get night sweats is that our bodies decrease in estrogen as we start to head towards the menopausal years, and that has an effect on our hypothalamus, which is our body's thermostat, and it doesn't work the way that it's meant to. It starts to falsely detect an increase in temperature, and that causes you to sweat to help cool yourself down. So what we need to do is start looking at boosting those estrogen levels, and also looking at whether there's any particular foods or drinks that are triggering or exacerbating symptoms. Now, some of the main things that exacerbate symptoms are things like stimulants like alcohol and caffeine and spicy foods, sugar, even hot drinks before we go to bed. So what I would always recommend people doing initially is to think about writing down what they are having the day before, particularly from sort of early afternoon right through the day, to see if there's anything particular that might trigger the sweats and make them worse if you are having them. And also maybe even particularly with caffeine, trying to cut it out for a few days, even up to a week, and seeing whether that makes any difference, because caffeine is something that we become very sensitive to. Some people can't drink it at all in the afternoon because of the effect it has on their sleep. I personally don't drink it after 3 p.m. because I know that it will have an effect on how well I sleep, and how well I can sort of cope with stress and things like that, because it has an effect on your adrenals. So think about avoiding those kind of things, trying to find out whether they are triggers or exacerbating symptoms for you. That's always a first step. Also think about, are there things that you could be doing lifestyle wise in your bedroom to help make things easier? So keeping the temperature down seems like a really obvious one, but isn't something that people necessarily think of straight away. Also thinking about, what kind of bedding you're sleeping in. Is it a very natural fibre? Does it have a low thread count so that it's very breathable, so you're not feeling like you are sort of suffocated by the sheets and they are making it worse? Also think about staying really hydrated, because actually the sweats can make you very dehydrated and it can sort of trigger things again. So I always like to keep a glass of water by my bed, and also make sure that I'm very well hydrated throughout the day. And by that I mean drinking actual water and not caffeinated drinks and things like that. Herbal drinks are a good source of hydration, but anything that you think might sort of dehydrate you at the same time, like fizzy drinks, caffeinated drinks, those kind of things, and make sure that you are avoiding those and concentrating more on drinking plenty of water. And also, thinking about types of herbs that maybe you could introduce into your diet. Herbs can be really beneficial for things like night sweats and hot flushes, and helping to keep your temperature down. And the ones that are commonly used in the research has shown that actually do work quite well are things like sage, Agnus castus, otherwise known as chasteberry, black cohosh, red clover, those kind of things, and seeing whether taking those kind of herbs either in a tincture, in a tea, a supplement, might be beneficial for you if you're not finding that the other things are working. And the final thing is something that I recommend to all of my clients that are struggling with estrogen and progesterone related issues, is seed cycling. Now, it's an ancient practice, but it is something that's becoming more and more popular nowadays, and it is really beneficial in helping to balance out those estrogen and progesterone levels. And the way that it works is that you eat or intake certain types of seeds in the first 14 days of your cycle, and slightly different ones in the days 15 to 30 of your cycle, depending on how long your cycle is. The first half and the second half of your cycle. Now, the first half of your cycle is called the follicular phase, and that's when your estrogen levels are more dominant. And so you should be eating or taking in seeds that are higher in estrogen. So things like flaxseed and pumpkin seeds are ideal. They will help to naturally raise your estrogen levels. And in the second half of your cycle, the luteal phase, think about taking in sesame seeds and sunflower seeds, which naturally help to increase your progesterone levels, because that should be more dominant in the second half. And that can be really beneficial in helping to balance out those estrogen and progesterone levels, getting them in the right ratio and ensuring that you are not exacerbating the night sweats, and that the decrease in estrogen is managed as you go towards the menopause, because it is something that is going to happen. It's your body's natural way of taking you out of those reproductive years. But what we want to do is find natural ways to help to manage the symptoms so that they are not as bad as they can be, so that they're minimised and you're able to live a normal life and it doesn't completely take over your life. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you have, I would love it if you click subscribe and make sure that you get notified about my other videos. I'd also like if you liked and commented and let me know what you thought about this video, or if there's anything else that you think you'd like me to talk about and find out a little bit more about, let me know in the comments as well. So that's it for today. I'll be back next week with another video.